today's episode, I talked to Pete Williams, the entrepreneur who became famous for selling the Melbourne Cricket Ground at the age of 21. Over time, Pete's founded many successful businesses. He's authored bestsellers and spends time speaking, consulting, and mentoring fellow entrepreneurs. Today he'll talk about the key strategies behind his success and how can any business grow its profits. So buckle up and let's get going. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Drive with an Entrepreneur. Today we have another very special guest. Pete, come on in.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi mate.
Good man.
I'm doing well. I remember my mum telling me that back in the day to not talk to people on the internet and don't hop in cars with strangers. And today I seem to have used the internet to call a stranger to hop in their car.
Hop in the car, man. And a stranger in a classic Jaguar.
Fantastic set of wheels.
Let's get going. Alright Pete, so I guess your entrepreneurial journey starts in sort of an explosive fashion with the selling of the MCG story.
Yes.
Man, tell us all about it.
It was a crazy one. So when I was studying university, I was working at Athlete's Foot, the shoe store chain.
Yeah.
And that was all fine. And then when I finished uni, I actually got the opportunity to go to America and work with Athlete's Foot over there. The plan was to do a bit of a reconnaissance mission, start in Florida and work my way back to California across different stores to sort of see what they were doing in Athlete's Foot in America and bring that home to Australia. So I landed in Florida, 21-year-old with an Australian accent. I didn't leave South Beach. As the story goes along, met a girl, fell in love, the usual stuff, and then my visa ran out. Yeah. So the plan was to come back to Australia, spend a little bit of time here, get my affairs in order, and then move back to happily ever after. Yeah. And when I was back in Australia, a new Athlete's Foot store had opened up, so that was sort of given to me to help run and look after. And it was quite a slow store, it was only just starting, so I spent a lot of time behind the counter reading books. And one of the books I was reading told the story of a guy back in the 80s in New Jersey, bought all the Brooklyn Bridge walkways timber. This is the timber that was the Brooklyn Bridge. Yeah. And he made certificates up with the history of the Brooklyn Bridge and like an inch by inch square of timber. And word around the campfire is he made like $2 million selling these little certificates. It was insane. He got on like the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson and just massive media exposure.
That's why like 500% profit margin or something.
Easily that. Yeah. And so I'm like, this 21-year-old kid with credit card debt from South Beach bars, thinking, how can I take that idea and replicate it here in Australia? Beautiful. So the Melbourne Cricket Ground, our version of Yankee Stadium, had just got demolished, or part of it had just got demolished. And I remember going to the footy with my dad and sitting on these really hard, really painful wooden seats watching the games. So I'm like, bingo, there's my idea. So a few phone calls later, found the wrecking company that was doing the demolition of the G. Yeah. And basically
it's perfect timing, isn't it? Because how often do they renovate the MCG?
Yeah, once every sort of 20 years kind of thing. So it was beautiful timing, and a few phone calls, found the wrecking company who was in charge of it. Yeah. I'm like, do you guys have any of the timber that you just pulled down? Is it in the back of a warehouse or your yard somewhere? Yeah. And they're like, yeah, we actually do have some of that sitting here. We've also got the crested carpet. Now it sounds really weird, but the members area of the MCG is really quite prestigious. It's really well known. It's like a 50-year wait list or something to get on.
How many legends probably would have worked? Brian Lara, Shane Warne, Adam Gilchrist,
Donald Bradman, all those guys. And they had some of the carpet, and it's very ugly carpet, but it's got the actual crest of the Melbourne Cricket Club on there.
So it was just lying on a warehouse, is it?
It was literally in the back of their warehouse, because these guys, they're demolition company, they don't see value, they just see rubbish. So they're like, we've got some of the carpet if you want it, and I just like, over the phone, done, sold, we'll take it. So next day went down, picked it all up, and then found a framer who was close by, and he made a series of memorabilia frames up with a photo of the MCG, a piece of the carpet, a plaque outlining the history of the G, and then just started selling them off as pieces of memorabilia, which was a massive success.
And it obviously attracted such huge media coverage, isn't it? Like, and I don't know whether this was intentionally part of your strategy or media strategy or whatever you call it, but when you said a 21-year-old sells the MCG, that's almost gives us the idea that you're actually selling the MCG as opposed to selling part of it.
That was the hook, yeah. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I didn't have much credit card, I didn't have any credit card funds or anything at the moment.
Yeah.
I literally had to borrow a friend's credit card to buy the carpet, even though it was really cheap. The guy sold it to me for a little bit of money.
Yeah.
I had to borrow a friend's credit card to pay for that because I had nothing. So I didn't have any budget for advertising. So I wrote a press release. 21-year-old sells the MCG for under $500, as you said. And that, you know, it was a very interesting hook.
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously going after media, you can do that strategically in so many ways.
Yeah.
I was very lucky there was an extra
And
bonus
media's
to the
obviously
hook.
looking for a story to
Always want a good
publish,
story,
isn't it?
Yeah. And for them, it's like, well, what's this 21-year-old doing selling the People's Ground, this, you know, historic MCG? And yeah, got, you know, Channel 7 News, Herald Sun, like massive media exposure, and that was the real kickstart for that project, which was a lot of fun.
Talk about starting with style.
Yeah, it was good. It was a nice little exposure, nice experience. Learnt a lot.
Yeah.
Some things I kind of just didn't realise I learnt till afterwards, looking back on it.
Yeah. I guess the major lesson out of that is there's opportunity everywhere, isn't it? For a guy who's starting out, doesn't have to be, it could be 21, it could be 31, 41, 51, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But all you have to do is just look around and have that sort of an enterprising kind of
That's it.
mindset, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think, you know, I think a lot of people, particularly with the whole Silicon Valley, you know, tech startup, you know, culture that's around, think they have to actually have a brand new idea to grow a business.
Yeah.
Whereas it's not true. You know, in all our businesses, we've never really invented anything.
Yeah, they don't need to find the next robotic sort of thing, isn't it? Not the next iPhone.
Take an existing idea, iterate it, replicate it, something like that. And give you a great place to start.
Beautiful. So, all right. So, after that, all that hype, then you jump into Infinity Telecommunications.
Yep.
What gap did you see in the marketplace for that? And tell us about it.
I'm definitely not a phone technician or any sort of thing like that. I think the worst manual labour my hands have ever dealt with was a paper cut about 6 years ago. So that it didn't come from a technical background.
Yeah.
It came from, as you sort of said, looking at the marketplace. You know, this is 10, 15 years ago when, you know, the office manager of a business, when they're being given the task to buy a new phone system, for example, they no longer went to Yellow Pages. They went to other places. They went to Google. They started looking online. And we sort of realised that there was no one in that sort of business telco space owning that online presence. So we, my business partners, we're in the sort of telco world a little bit, but we pivoted the business and became a sales and marketing company that happened to sell phone systems.
Oh, beautiful.
And that was really great for us to sort of prove, did we have the market match right? Could we actually generate leads? Could we make sales? And it was a really good kind of proof for that. It then actually caused us problems pretty quickly, but fundamentally to actually get the business rolling, that was a great kind of way to start that journey.
Yeah, and what is it, 14 years later, you guys are still running successfully.
Yep.
Is that the same core principles that you stuck to? Do you reckon that's made it a success?
Yeah, there's definitely some pivots. So I think originally, we were that sales and marketing company, and what we did is we'd make that sale and we would take the client's order and then effectively actually go and give the client to almost like a competitor. So we'd make the sale. We didn't have the expertise to actually do the installation.
Yeah.
So we would have to actually take that order, take that client, and pass it to a subcontractor, which allowed us to fulfill the solution.
Yeah.
But the problem is that, you know, look, if you bought a phone system from somebody and you needed more handsets or you needed some more support, where would you go? You'd normally go to the person who actually did the installation for you, not to the company who sold it to you. So we were getting no repeat business. We were getting no referrals because we weren't the one that was giving that customer experience.
Yeah, you were just part of the process.
And
it
was great sort of from part of the business, but we sort of sat back and went, hang on, what are all the things that drive revenue in a business? What are all the things that drove growth? And we were really limiting ourselves with our business model. So we've shifted a lot, and we've now got technicians on board. We still have some subcontractors we work with. We've taken that client experience a lot more in-house now, which has been a massive growth for us, a much better experience for a customer, and something we're much more proud of now than we were back in the day.
And this journey, Pete, do you see this in like, for let's say for someone who wants to start a business, right? How does one actually grow profit?
Yeah, well, I think, there's a couple of things. I think one of the biggest issues that I think we faced, and a lot of businesses face when they are trying to grow their profit, is, I think everyone's heard of or read The E-Myth, Michael Gerber. It's a fantastic book. But I think what Michael Gerber actually did was almost cause a problem he wasn't aware of. And that is that his mantra, what he's screaming and taught was work on your business rather than in it.
Yeah,
and that's very, very true. You have to work on your business rather than in it. You've got to get off the tools. If you're a mechanic looking after beautiful cars like this Jag, you may be really, really great getting under the hood and doing the work of the mechanic, doing the restoration stuff. But that won't grow a business. You have to actually get out from under the hood to work on it. Yeah. Yet the problem, the myth with the E-Myth almost, and the problem is that there was no framework given from Gerber about what do you work on. So if you're saying, okay, I'm going to get out from under the hood every Monday afternoon, I'm going to work on my business. Great first step, great distinction, but then people are lost with what's the blueprint? What is the framework I need to work on? And that, I think, is a massive gap for people who are trying to actually grow, is not having that roadmap. Yeah. So what we did is, when we realised we were having this sort of similar issue in our business 10, 12 years ago, we'd proven the business model to generate leads and make sales, but we weren't growing the profit. We sat back and started looking at, okay, what are the drivers of profit in our business, in any business? What are we good at and what are we weak at? And we effectively discovered there was about 7 things that in any business drove profit. And then, as we kept working through that, we had some massive distinctions about how easy it was to use that framework and that roadmap to actually grow and increase our profits.
And this whole notion about having some sort of an online presence in the marketplace, right? Do you think that's it's mandatory for business now, or do you think you can? So you think a business can still survive traditionally without any online presence?
It depends how you define online presence. I think everyone and their dog is screaming, "Oh, you got to have an e-commerce store. You got to have an e-commerce store these days." I don't believe in that. What I believe in is working out and saying, okay, these are the problems I solve. In our business, we solve phone system problems. A person needs a business phone system to communicate. That's their problem. Where do they go to look for the solution once they're aware of the problem? And for us back 14 years ago, it was the internet, because the office manager was that sort of millennial age person who was using Google rather than Yellow Pages. So it worked for us. Yet there's a lot of businesses out there whose target market don't actually use the internet to solve their problems. There are still people who go to the shopping mall to solve their problems. They don't go online. So I think having that distinction can really help you decide if online's for you or not. Now, if you're a retail store, you've got to have a presence in places like Google Local on the Google Maps, and having a small website that kind of, you can do AdWords across to drive people into your store. Or if you're an accountant, you don't need a massive website. You can just have AdWords ads running to a page that talks about...
It could be word of mouth, isn't it?
Exactly.
For an accountant.
Absolutely. So it's about message to market match. And I think, everyone who's running to their local graphic designer and dropping $10,000, $15,000 on a website, I think, are not thinking strategically. They're thinking tactical again, which is an issue.
And e-commerce business that you run, PD, is simplyheadsets.com.au. How do you differentiate your offering to another person who is running an e-commerce business? Because I guess with e-commerce, the entry barriers for an entrepreneur could be less than a traditional model, isn't it?
So we started that business, I'm guessing 8-9 years ago. I probably should know the actual date, but it was a while ago. And we literally started that business as a thought of a way to generate leads for the phone system company. So we thought, we're going to sell headsets, because if you're buying an office headset, you have a phone system. So we might be able to use that lead to upsell, cross-sell into phone system services. We still, 8 years on, haven't really cracked that nut, but the e-commerce business itself has grown exponentially. It's a massive business for us now. And the way we differentiate that is through non-e-commerce things. In that it's an e-commerce store, don't get me wrong, you can buy headsets online, our general traffic sources online, yet a big part of the customer experience is offline. That we call every single customer who buys from us, gets a phone call from our customer service team before we fulfill the order.
the tyres maybe?
Yeah, it feels like it.
Talk about anything going wrong. Let's have a look.
No!
Alright, well,
Oh, tragedy.
what happened there?
Roadside assist.
Roadside assist.
Oh, well.
Anyway, alright, so just to give you guys an update, we just had one of the tires blow out on a perfect road as well. But nothing's gonna stop our conversation, Pete.
Sounds good.
You got a new book coming up?
Yes, coming out in a couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
it's been about a 2 or 3 year journey, which is always
Yeah,
exciting.
and I got a copy here. Thanks
Oh,
for
there you
my
go.
free copy there.
You're welcome.
I'll give you
Do the
10
pitch,
there.
do the
Yeah.
prezzo.
It's called Cadence.
A tale of fast business growth.
Beautiful. Well,
So yeah, it's based on a true story. So when I was training for my first Ironman triathlon, the bike store across the road from our office had just opened up, and the owner there, who I'd known for a few years, had quit his job as a teacher to open his bike store and had a triathlon coaching business on the side. So during the 20 weeks, as he kind of took me from unfit athlete to a Ironman triathlete finisher, he helped me get to that race, and I helped him apply those sort of 7 levers, the 7 things we spoke about briefly earlier,
Yeah.
to his bike store, and actually kind of change the trajectory of the store, which was really cool. So the story is based on that story with a bit of extra sort of lessons and engagement padded around it.
Oh, beautiful. And so I've been on page 41, I think, and what I found most interesting about this speed is it's not one of those classic business books where you just say, okay, this is what you do, this is what you do, whereas you are just giving something based on your experience. But this is actually, as you said, a story. It's almost like with fictional characters. All the years it's based on a true story, true events.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you could almost relate to the characters, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the idea. Like, the book started off, as a traditional sort of non-fiction book, lean startup kind of style, and I just wasn't feeling it. Like, I just didn't think it was engaging enough. So sort of scrapped that, started again, and it turned into a parable. So it's the story of this journey, and there's a lot of conversations, a lot of lessons throughout the book that seem to be well received so far. It's already won a couple of international awards, which is quite mind blowing given it hasn't been released yet.
Yeah,
So
well,
it's,
I'm
very
loving it
humbling.
so far, and as I told you, I sort of started reading it to get get ready for this show, but then I thought I'll read the first 10 pages, and here am I on page 41, and I can't wait to actually read it again after
Appreciate
this
that,
show.
mate. Thank you very much.
But another thing that you touch on this book is actually a concept that I guess you developed called 10% wins and the 7 levers framework.
Yeah.
What is this about? And how can someone apply this to a small business?
Yeah, sure. Well, it kind of goes back to when we had that moment of aha in a telco, when we realised that there was money being left on the table. We had that ceiling because we were giving the clients away. So we sat down and over a period of time started working out, well, what are all the things that were driving profit in our business? And for us at the time was pretty much, suspects, prospects, conversions. We were able to get new leads in the door. We were able to identify the qualified ones, which are your prospects, and then convert them into sales. But at that point, it then basically handed the client away. So there was a lot of stuff being left on the table. We weren't getting that, repeat transactions per client. So we discovered there were 7 things that drove profit in any business, whether you're a florist, you're an accountant, you're a telco business, e-com store. And then we sort of went, okay, well, that's great. What do we need to do if we want to double our profit? How does the math work in this? And what we realized was that getting a 10% win, like just a small incremental gain in each of those 7 areas, the compounding effect was a doubling of our profit. Historically, what we did, we were always trying to double our leads, get me more leads, get me the good leads. And it's hard to double anything. To double your leads is really, really tough. Yet getting a 10% increase is easy. Then going, let's increase our conversion rate from 20% to 22%.
It's very realistic, isn't it?
And it became the framework for us. It became that blueprint for when we're working on our businesses, kind of like the E-Myth stuff I was talking about earlier. That if you have those roadmap, every time you're working on your business, I'm going to increase one of these levers by 10%. And just keep cycling through it and compounding. It's a much easier way, because I know people I've spoken to, and even in our business, we'd have times we'd run a campaign and it gave us a 10% boost.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
We were trying to double something, and we only got a 10% increase.
Yeah.
We failed. But then now, in hindsight, looking at it through this lens, it's like, no, we actually succeeded. We got what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that is, the momentum you get from that is massive. And the book basically shares the 7 levers and the model and the mode to go through to actually get those 10% wins and how it can apply to any business.
Beautiful. No, that's great. I mean, we'll just show the book once again here. Where can you download this book from, or get this book from?
Well, it's going to be available at all good bookstores.
Yeah.
Yet we're doing a cool test, which I thought, would love to throw out there to you guys and your audience, that I was able to negotiate the audiobook rights back with the publisher for this. So what we're doing is that, like, I hate hearing interviews like this and then having to order a book and wait for it to come out or wait for the postman.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're saying that if someone wants to head over to like cadencebook.com/car,
Yeah,
we're writing
the link
cars,
below. Yep.
cadencebook.com/car, if they want to order a copy of the book, we will give them instant access to the audiobook straight away.
Yeah.
So no longer have to wait for the print run, the publisher, the postman, anything like that. It'll come once it's in the mail to you, but you can get the audiobook straight away today.
You don't have to wait for it to come. Right.
Instant gratification.
Starting from the age of 21, founding multiple companies to having sitting in a broken down car in the middle of nowhere. What a great journey it is.
Thank you very much for having me,
Thanks,
mate.
Pete.
As I joked at the front, I actually am going to get an Uber now while you wait for roadside assist.
That's it, mate. I reckon. I wonder how long I'll wait. I'll probably be murdered. Thanks for coming in, and all the best with your journey.
Appreciate it, buddy, and I'm enjoying the show, and good luck to you guys with the growth of this as well.